Today, we have two towers in a Finnish forest that helped explain the origin story of one of the most infamous and famous weapons in history. It's a household name, but very few people know how it got its name. It's a proper David and Goliath story involving the thwarting of the largest army in the world, world-class skiing, and the sort of brilliantly simple ingenuity that you just have to take your hat off to.
I like the sound of this.
This is Where Did Everyone Go? With me, Dr. Sasha Auerbach.
And me, Tom Ward. A journey into the weird history of abandoned places. So where are we, Sasha?
Well, now, it's going to be in Finland, right? Because these are Finnish towers. Can you think of any Finnish-sounding weapons?
Sauna-off shotgun.
That's actually really good. Sauna-off shotgun.
Maypalm.
Maypalm.
Midsummerine.
That's the best. That might even be better than sauna-off shotgun. These are all great. I wish we had stories about those.
But we don't.
No, we don't. Now, the location here is important.
Yep. Okay, so it's cold, it's snowy.
Yes. What, do you know anything about Finnish geography?
I've heard of Helsinki, but
yes.
Other than that, are we there?
We're pretty close. We're just about 30 miles from there in a small town called Rajmaki.
Oh, okay. And we've got the footage up now. So listeners can see, if they want to, I'm seeing a forest covered in snow, and hidden amongst the trees is a pair of towers which look identical.
Yeah, and at first sight, they look a little bit like medieval churches, but when you get close, you can see they're not made of stone, but rather of poured concrete. So it's got to be 20th century construction.
And inside, there's an open shaft going all the way up to the top, where there's an obvious sort of platform that just sits beneath the treetops.
Yeah, and now just on the edge of the forest is a large brick factory-looking building.
Which I'm assuming is somehow linked to the towers. So where are we starting, Sasha? Towers or factory? And where did everyone go?
Where did everyone go? Well, let's start with the towers. The towers are, wait for it, anti-aircraft towers, also known as flak towers. They were built to the height of the trees so they could be hidden, but have a clear view of the sky, 360. The ground floor of these towers are rooms for ammunition and for the accommodation of soldiers, and the hollow shaft is for hoisting the gun up to the top.
Okay.
You had 11 to 20 men in each tower and one stove to heat the whole thing.
Oh, this sounds like a flat share I used to live in.
Did it also have an anti-aircraft gun at the top of it?
No, but no one would buy a toilet roll. You know that thing in a flat share, no one buys toilet roll. So in the end, the tea towels from the kitchen end up getting used as toilet roll.
Oh, I was going to say paper towels.
And everyone would steal the one guy's shower gel.
Yeah.
And then just add water after they've stolen some. So in the end, it was just an empty bottle of bubbles.
Yeah, people were just washing themselves with other people's water.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this gun, did you say there was a gun on the top?
Yes.
Is this the famous weapon you were talking about?
No. Well, this one is fairly famous. It's the Bofors 40mm. It's probably the best anti-aircraft gun ever invented. Very advanced for its time. 360 degrees of rotation. And how it worked was that it would shoot a shell high into the air with the aim of bursting it near the aircraft, and then it would be the exploding fragments that would bring it down. You didn't need a direct hit. It's very hard to hit a moving object at that distance and that speed.
Oh, okay. So,
but all you need to do is come close to it. And
So there was the advantage of sort of not missing it, but almost intentionally shooting near it was that it would more likely fragments would hit.
Yeah, and this is also how that idea of bringing something down with shrapnel, this is also how a significant number of surface, like anti-aircraft missiles work today, is they get close to the aircraft and then they explode towards it, and then the shrapnel is actually, they don't need to have a direct hit on the aircraft.
Okay, so you can be a pretty bad hit.
Well, those things have guidance systems. This is like you're just aiming it and, trying to get it close.
Right, okay.
So Finland didn't have a radar system at the time. So this whole anti-aircraft setup has to be done through a network of observers, telephone lines, and, analog calculations. You had people with binoculars and rangefinders staked out on the top of buildings to, keep track of these aircraft. They would spot a plane and they would telephone a control center with the altitude, the type of aircraft, speed, distance, and position. Then the control center could pass this information on to the towers, again, via a telephone line, and the towers would spring into action.
Wow, this is quite a convoluted process. You'd have to hope that whoever they were ringing, who was then passing on the message, that the plane hadn't dropped its bomb by the time that call and the message got through.
Well, you set up these observation points as close to the border as possible.
Right.
And those people are actually relatively easy to train. You just basically train them in the basics of aircraft identification. You basically give them like a booklet of silhouettes so that they can say, okay, this is a bomber, this is a fighter, like this.
And then they hold it up to the sky as the plane's moving past.
Yeah. That's the same way that submarine captains identified ships too, was they'd have a silhouette chart. That they could tell, okay, this is a merchant ship from here, this is a warship from here. And then you train them in basic geometry, and you give them the tools, like a rangefinder, and it turns out to be pretty spot on.
Okay, so they can deploy their response accordingly.
Exactly.
So who was trying to get in? Who were the people that they were
we'll get to the enemy later. I don't want to spoil the story.
Okay.
But the target that they were going after is the factory we saw in the video, which was an alcohol factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Finland particularly boozy?
Finland is quite boozy. You have long winters. It's very cold. They prefer spirits, though they do drink beer. The Finnish drink beer. They like beer. So this was a huge state-owned facility responsible for making almost all the alcohol in Finland at the time.
Okay. Wow. So this is so why are they targeting?
Well, they didn't just make alcohol. They made this famous weapon. So, come on, you've got alcohol, bottling factory, World War II, famous. Any of this coming together? You want to take a guess what kind of weapon we're talking about? And it's not the sauna-off shotgun.
The vodka gun.
The vodka gun. I think that's just like a fraternity thing. I don't think that's an actual weapon.
The snow bomb.
I'm going to put both you and our listeners out of their misery. No, I'm not. I guess more misery.
The submarine. The submarine.
Yeah, that's flak tower factory. It's making submarines.
The alcohol boat.
The alcohol boat. Did you ever, I actually had this toy submarine as a kid that operated on baking soda, or was supposed to operate on baking soda. You're supposed to put in the baking soda and it sinks, and then some type of chemical reaction happens and it fills with gas and it pops up, and then it could never get it to work. It just sunk to the bottom of the bathtub.
Oh.
Yeah.
Baking soda is otherwise very versatile. You can use it for everything. You can clean your teeth with it. You can make your armpits smell nicer.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that why you always smell so nice?
I smell lovely. I
douse yourself in baking powder every morning. But you can't confuse there. There's baking soda and then there's baking powder, which is actually used for baking, right?
Oh, right. That's probably where I'm going wrong. And it's I shed quite a lot when I disrobe. My girlfriend hates it. She coughs a lot. It triggers her allergies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not the worst.
But I smell great.
Yeah, but you smell great, and you're leavened.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about the Molotov cocktail.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I know you're almost there.
That was a Finnish thing?
That was a Finnish thing.
Did they invent it?
Well, no, they didn't invent it. When World War II breaks out and Russia invades Finland, this factory switches from bottling vodka to making Molotov cocktails. Not that big a switch when you think about it. You already have all the bottles and the alcohols, the flammable liquid. You just need to add a little bit of tar, a little bit of gasoline. The 87 women and 5 men at this factory handcrafted, wait for it, 542,194 Molotov cocktails.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot of women to men. 87 to 5.
That's your takeaway point from
Those
this.
boys must have loved that working conditions.
And all the free alcohol. Well, I guess, can you drink this stuff once they're making Molotov cocktails?
Before the tar goes in, have a quick swig.
Yeah.
Though it might reduce the effectiveness. Hey,
of the anti-aircraft gun.
yeah. Okay.
All right, before we
That's
get...
a lot of cocktails.
That is a lot of cocktails.
So how did the Russians know? Because they were flying in to destroy the factory. How did they know that the
Molotov cocktail. Well, first of all, they didn't use the Molotov cocktails in airplanes. Like, they're not making catapults, but we'll get to that in a moment. Well, a crucial oversight was made. A mistake was made. They forgot to change the bottle caps on the bottles, and they said Rajmaki Distillery.
Oh, come on. No one spotted that?
Well, now you'd have to like change the whole printing. This stuff costs money, you know?
Right.
I mean, and the Finns are a thrifty people, They had perfectly good bottle caps. Why change them?
That's so annoying.
Yeah, well.
Someone's going to get sacked.
Someone's
having a stern meeting.
Probably
in HR.
not one of the 5 men, I imagine, because, for like gender equality purposes, you can't get rid of one of the 5.
Yeah.
They were probably the most useless ones, though.
They were probably so
committed to the
distracted
task.
by all the ladies around.
I think they'd be more distracted by all the alcohol around, to be frank.
This reminds me, there was a story of a guy who broke into a house and he burgled the house, but he checked his Facebook on the home computer and forgot to sign out. And that's how he was caught.
True fact, they did an experiment with submarine crews to figure out what the most effective configuration was. They had all male crews, they had all female crews, and then they had mixed gender crews. Do you want to guess which ones actually dealt with stress? And this has been repeated across several experiments. What group dealt with stress best?
Oh, I got a bad feeling about this one. The women crews.
No, the mixed gender ones.
Oh.
Turns out the mixed gender ones are most able to deal with stressful situations. Yeah, go figure.
God will be pleased.
So yeah, probably. So this factory had it right. So the Finnish gave the weapon its name, and they were the first to mass produce them, but they weren't the actual inventors. They were first used in the terrible Spanish Civil War, beginning in 1937. That's the war that produced, amongst other things, that famous painting by Picasso, Guernica. Where he portrays the bombing of the Spanish city of Guernica by the fascists. So why they called them Molotov cocktails is brilliant, because it is the Finnish that come up with the name. When the Soviet forces attacked Finland, Stalin's foreign minister, Vyacheslav Mikhailovich Molotov, claimed that the warplanes were, quote, airlifting food for starving Finns. And as we've learned, the Russians are masters of honest reporting of their military intentions. Any peace treaty we sign is one you can trust. So the Finns responded by dubbing the bombs Molotov's bread baskets.
Nice.
And offered to provide drinks or cocktails to go with them.
Oh, clever.
Yeah.
It's a nice little gallows humor there.
It is a nice little gallows humor. You got to give it to the Finns. That's pretty. Oh, you're dropping bread baskets. Like, we'll make the cocktails to go with our picnic.
Yeah. So why were the Soviets so bothered about these little bottles of fire? What was such a big deal? They had planes and I'm guessing tanks and all the rest.
It's the tanks that they were worried about. They turn out to be very effective against them. Tanks back then ran on gasoline with easily accessible tanks for quick refueling. And the Soviet tanks were like miracles of design, but they were also designed to be produced very quickly, and they were very simple pieces of equipment so that they could be repaired easily, produced easily, interchangeable parts. Like the German tanks were actually much more complicated pieces of machinery, much more high-tech. The Soviet tanks were like, make a lot of them, make them cheap, make them tough, make them simple. So with these accessible tanks for quick refueling, because these are gas guzzlers like you wouldn't believe, a well-targeted projectile could potentially set the whole fuel tank ablaze. The tanks also had an air intake valve. So if you were a good shot, you could potentially ignite the live ammunition in the tank, which would completely destroy it, because tanks are armored on the outside, but the inside, it's like a giant pressure cooker. Blow up the ammunition, and you're in real trouble. Wow. This is why in modern tanks you actually have the ammunition in a kind of armored magazine that's designed to, if there's a problem, if something gets hit, it blows outwards rather than killing everyone in the tank.
Right.
But back in the day, these things are just like kind of on these shelves that you just load in.
That must have been so satisfying, just being one person dropping a bottle in and the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's like proper jiu-jitsu stuff,
Yeah,
using your opponent's strength against themselves.
Hats off to the Finns. Pretty brave for confronting one of these giant multi-ton armored monstrosities when all you've got is a bottle of hooch and a wick.
So what, they were skiing?
Well, we'll get to the skiing bit in a second. Back to the Molotov cocktails, though. They added tar to the cocktails. The reason for this is, as you know from your tire burning habit, the smoke from the burning tar could potentially blind the tank crew.
Right.
Now, this is how effective they were. In a conflict that lasted just around 3 months, they destroyed 350 Soviet tanks this way.
Incredible.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, the Finns were very good on skis. They were quick, they were agile, they wove through the forest, they had white uniforms to blend into the snow. In one instance, a Finnish ski trooper skied close enough to pry the threads off of one of the T-28 tanks, immobilizing it, and then the other Finnish skiers could plunk explosives inside.
That is so audacious.
Yeah. The Soviets were terrible skiers, and they had terrible skis. In fact, there's a story that the Finnish would capture all these Soviet skis, and they were so useless they would just break them into firewood. They weren't even worth salvaging.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The Finnish were also very used to the cold, and you needed to be. It got as cold as negative 45 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
During the conflict.
That is cold.
It was so cold that sometimes when a soldier was hit by a bullet and his circulation slowed, his body would freeze almost instantaneously, immortalizing his agonized posture.
Which is why you should always smile when you're in battle in Finland. Just in case. Open casket and all that.
Yeah. It's just the idea of these like frozen soldiers, these rictus of pain. It's not a very pretty picture.
No, it's not nice. So
war is an ugly business.
You said the conflict only lasted 3 months. What happened?
Well, despite Finland being up against the world's largest army, and Finland's army being a third of that size, they resisted the conquest of their country. Most sources conclude the Soviet Union had intended to take all of Finland, to install a puppet Finnish communist government via the terms of what was called the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact.
Like a government with puppets?
No, not a government
that
with
would
puppets.
Be fun, though, wouldn't it? I'd be into politics if it was like...
Well, who do you think's pulling your strings?
Oh, here we go. The free will debate again.
So in this case, we mean a government that is subservient to another government.
Okay, like
hence the puppet, not the actual
show
physical
government almost.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Government being manipulated behind the scenes by another puppet government.
Okay.
So the Finnish end up signing a peace treaty where they cede about 9% of their territory to the Soviet Union. But considering how much the odds were stacked in their favor at the beginning, this was considered a shocking defeat for the Soviets. Their losses were heavy, and the international reputation of the Soviet Union suffered considerably.
Because, it's embarrassing, right?
Well, Finland's a pretty small, not very populated country, and they fought these folks to a standstill.
Guys on skis with little bottles.
With little bottles of booze.
Compared to these tanks and planes. You've got to adapt to the landscape, though, Stalin, right?
Yeah.
Slinky skiers.
Yeah, but
with cocktails.
Don't mess with the Finnish. They are tough people.
I like the idea that they would actually have them in cocktail glasses as well to look extra debonair as they were skiing along.
Yeah, you watched too
Unpicking threads.
Too many James Bond films. They're all in white, and that is a nice image, though, I have to admit.
So,
that's when you know you're a good skier, if you can ski and not spill your martini. Especially on the moguls, it's like whoa.
That's elite level while winking at a lady.
Or a dude, man. It's 2025. Winking at someone.
Yeah, winking at someone. So the distillery survives.
Well, the factory was hit a few times, but it wasn't destroyed.
What about the towers?
Well, the towers in the factory were needed again very soon after that conflict, the Russia-Finnish War, the Soviet-Finnish War, because World War II is only just getting started.
Oh, okay.
In fact, some say that the poor performance of the Soviets against the Finnish encouraged Hitler to believe that an attack on the Soviet Union could be successful.
Right. I don't think Hitler needed much encouraging in any of that regard.
Well, he was part of the whole Nazi philosophy was the inherent inferiority of, Bolshevism. So he definitely didn't think these were superior beings in the way that their philosophy said, the Aryan master race and blah, blah, blah. And he definitely saw Germany's destiny, this Lebensraum, as expanding eastwards into the lands of these barbarians.
Right. They're there for the taking.
Yeah.
But to be fair, when I was watching the Mike Tyson fight with Jake Paul, I kind of felt like I could probably take Tyson.
And how much alcohol had you drunk at that
None,
point?
so completely sober, just had 3 cups of tea. I was enlivened, but I wasn't intoxicated. So Mike, if you're man enough, let's make this happen.
That would really make the guy immobilized in the tank with the Molotov cocktail look like a piece of piss. You and Mike Tyson.
I think with Mike, it's all about using kind of more martial arts, bobbing and weaving, because he's kind of slow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll work.
If you can just be nimble, it's more about nimbleness. Just tire him out. He'll tire himself out.
Do you have a good dentist, like a really good dentist?
He's all right.
Okay, you might want to just upgrade before that fight.
I was supposed
just
to
in
get
case.
Well, I was supposed to get Invisalign, but he didn't message me. I was going to get
perfectly straight. What do you need?
Well,
Invisalign?
no, the bottom ones.
Oh,
I
come
got
on!
my mum's bottom
that just adds character.
teeth. Well, yeah, but I'd rather just be good looking.
Well, Mike Tyson will take care of that for you. Don't worry, you won't have any
straighten
tooth
out my
problems
teeth.
after that. Anyway, back to our Finns. So the Germans do invade in like the largest invasion in history, Operation Barbarossa, and at that point, the Finns join the Germans in attacking the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Now, numerous reasons have been proposed for why the Finns decided to invade, with regaining territory lost during the previous Winter War, which we were just talking about, being the most common reason given. And by September of 1941, Finland had regained all the concessions that it had made to the Soviet Union in that first treaty. They even went beyond the original border and only halted 20 miles from the center of Leningrad.
Oh, wow.
The Finns took part in the siege of Leningrad, which was one of the longest, most destructive, and deadly sieges in history.
Okay, so Finland teamed up with Germany.
Yes.
So it still ended up on the losing team eventually?
Well, that's how it works out. Yes. Stalin retaliates with a bombing campaign against Helsinki.
But also, hang on, didn't Finland were involved in a siege, which was the horrible siege?
Yes.
And also tried to take more than they'd relinquished.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? They took 20. They went further.
Yeah, they went into Russian territory.
So they're actually
Soviet
worse
territory
than the Soviets?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, besides the Germans, and the Japanese, it's hard to pick out like good guys and bad guys in that part of the war. I guess the Finns felt they had cause for retaliation.
Yeah, retaliation is never equal to the initial.
But the Soviets,
aggression.
invaded them. There was no provocation there. It's not like the Finns were this aggressive force on their border prior to that.
Okay.
So I can't say. I mean, certainly joining the German army wasn't necessarily the best move in hindsight.
Sure. But at the time, it would have made sense.
Well, the saying the what is it? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. But they take it in the teeth too. Stalin starts his bombing campaign of Helsinki in February of 1944, and there are over 6,000 bombing sorties sent over against the Finns.
Wow.
So our anti-aircraft towers in Rajmaki are less than 30 miles from Helsinki. Many of the bombers came close, but thanks to the guns, they tended to stay out of range, and there were no hits on the Molotov factory throughout the rest of the Second World War.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So Finland ends up signing the Moscow Armistice, in which its borders, per the end of the initial Russian attack, are restored. They also had to pay war reparations to the Soviet Union, accept partial responsibility for the war, and publicly acknowledge that they had been an ally of Germany.
I bet they hated that. I bet they paid that money in like the smallest currency and like just bags and bags of it just dumped outside the embassy. Ruples, just thousands and thousands of ruples. Sorry about the siege.
Yeah, and that was like the siege of Leningrad was really terrible. I mean, you had hundreds of thousands of civilians trapped in that city, unable to get out. And the Soviets were trying to get them food to survive, and it just got like the conditions inside it were medieval. By the end of it.
Okay.
But they held out. But Leningrad was never taken.
This is where history is so complicated, because retaliation is always stronger than aggression, the initial aggression. Like if I slapped you, what would you do to me?
I'd cry.
And then?
I'd leave.
Okay. You internalize.
I'd try to guilt you.
Oh, you're okay.
And I'd tell Mike Tyson.
Right. Yeah, and then
I was going to protect him, but then he slapped me. So go ahead.
Dear Mike,
give his dentist,
I write to you with sad news. My co-host on Where Did Everyone Go?
Which I'm sure you've seen, Mike.
Try to use me as an example of his thesis. All right, yeah, I'd probably do the same because I get sad rather than angry.
Yeah. Are you planning on slapping me?
No, I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if someone slaps you, then
but that's what you would say if
you'd
just
punch them, wouldn't you? You'd punch them 10 times.
I've never been slapped by anyone who's not a relative.
In the 1980s. It's
not
a very modern thing to do, a slap, is it?
No.
People still slap?
Yeah. I got slapped out my chair by my uncle one time because I mouthed off to him.
When?
I think I was not, just yesterday. No, we were in the pub. He's like, whoa!
Slapped.
No, I think I was 9, and it was a family reunion, and he walloped me. And I was so shocked because the only person who I'd ever been spanked by was my mother. Oh. And I was like, you're not my father. And then he was getting ready to hit me again.
Yes, I am.
I just legged it.
That's the way to stop it, isn't it? Oh, that's nice. Will Smith smacked Chris Rock.
That was messed up.
That was a slap.
That was messed up. That was unprofessional.
It was unprofessional. Yeah, no, it was an ugly scene. Yeah. Though Chris Rock now does adverts for gambling. So
yeah, wouldn't you say as a comedian that the job of a comedian is to provoke and to not shy away from saying the well, it wasn't really a tasteful joke, really. I mean, nobody likes to joke about cancer, but maybe he was trying to defang it. I don't know. I can't see into Chris Rock's mind.
I don't know if Chris Rock had a good intention. I don't think he was trying to spread cancer awareness.
Did he have some beef with Will Smith?
I don't know. I think there probably was a little something there, but slapping him live on...
That's a bit rough.
Yeah. But you got to respect Will Smith for sticking to his principles.
Yeah, but it's kind of a kind of paternalistic thing, though. I mean, I think Jada Pinkett Smith can defend herself. If she got up and slapped Chris Rock, then I'd be like, you go, But the idea is like, oh, I need a man to come up and defend me, like that. Like that, I'm not a fan of. Anyway, I think we can all agree that slapping people in public is probably not a good idea.
It's not a good look.
Unless it's Lewis.
Unless it's me slapping Mike
the absolute
Tyson.
crap out of Lewis.
I'm going to slap you guys to get back to the story.
Sorry.
Mike?
Okay, so.
If you're listening.
So, I'm sure you want to know what happened to the distillery.
What happened to the distillery? We can cut all the stuff about Tyson. We can cut all the stuff about slapping.
There was a metaphor there, wasn't there?
Something about retaliation.
Oh, yeah. This is why history is so complicated.
Oh, this is why history is so complicated.
This is why history is so complicated.
Oh, do tell.
Finland's aggression to the Soviets was arguably worse than the initial aggression by the Soviets to them.
Well, it was worse in the fact that they joined the Germans, yes. In that sense, it was worse. But at the same time, this was a small country that was defending itself against a much larger country, which I think in most cases, right up until the point where you join the Germans, the fascists, that's kind of morally defensible. Anyway,
it doesn't age well.
The factory switches back to making normal drinks, vodka mainly.
Nice.
But post-war, there were strict controls on alcohol consumption. Between 1944 and 1970, there was what was called the BRAT system. You get a booklet called a Vinacorti, whereby all alcohol sales or all alcohol purchases are recorded in it, and you get a little stamp. And once you purchase a certain amount of alcohol, the owner of the booklet has to wait until next month to buy any more. Do you think that would go over well in Britain?
Probably not. I'm guessing even then there was probably booklet theft and swapping. Like people say, teetotalers. Basically, you can have my book.
Well, I think in Britain you
give me a book. People hanging outside AA meetings,
Yeah.
and mugging people as they come out. Give me a
Well, I just think
book.
you need like everyone gets just a giant booklet, like the size of an encyclopedia they couldn't possibly fill in a month, and still there's going to be some crazy bastard that manages
Or people sewing
5,000 points.
The guy that was unpicking the tank could also fix in new pages into the booklet.
Yeah,
for a small fee.
There would be a brisk business in bootleg booklets.
Yeah,
and just like bootleg alcohol. So you
Yeah.
have a lot of blind British people wandering around trying to find their fake booklets.
yeah. I'm going to say that there was corruption probably, and there would be if it was an English thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know how well these booklets were designed. The Finnish are fairly law-abiding people, so who knows?
Okay.
Anyway, there are still restrictions today on buying spirits in Finland. And the distillery is still going today. It makes Finlandia vodka and the national favorite, Koskenkorva.
What is that?
I think it's a type of vodka.
Okay.
I'm going to look out for it now. I don't know
Is
if
it
I have...
fruity or
I
something?
doubt it.
Like the
Fin-
Hungarian
Fin-
one.
Man, no, the Finns take their vodka straight.
Right, none of that fancy
Nothing
business.
fancy.
None of that
It's proper.
snazziness.
It's, an efficient way to get totally blotto.
Right.
But I'm going to look for it now in the store. I'm curious. This is not an endorsement. I want to point that out. I'm just curious. And the anti-aircraft towers were locked up for good.
So they're just there now, just sitting there.
Well, yeah. I mean, they stood the test of time. But,
Yeah. So they haven't been turned into flats?
well, they're in the middle of a friggin' forest,
Right.
and they just have the one stove and a giant open shaft in the middle. So not really a real estate opportunity there.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably build a... I paused. You could build a penthouse. You could have you could extend it, and then the shaft could take, some entrepreneur could live up there, and
You would have easy access to the vodka factory,
Yeah.
which is probably a huge seller in Finnish terms.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm interested in living there.
If Mike Tyson takes
you're
up your
listening.
challenge, it might be the one place you're safe.
Let's have the fight on top of the tower, Mike.
Oh, now this is like some Mortal Kombat
So we
stuff.
arrive in helicopters, yeah, separate helicopters,
Separate helicopters.
and then there's a drawbridge, and then we meet on the tower, the first tower, and then I take you down
How long have you been planning this
since
mythical Tyson
since
fight?
the middle of this episode. But when you get something that just feels right, you just know it's your destiny. It just feels right.
Yeah.
It's also a very clever way to commit suicide without actually having to do it. Just have a fight.
Just keep
with
antagonizing Mike Tyson. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really didn't think of that.
Yeah.
And the story.
Oh yeah, the story.
Some cocktails.
Yeah.
So doesn't it show? I think it shows the power of ingenuity. That these simple solutions. If you're clever enough, you use the resources at hand. Don't try to fight the enemy on their own terms. You make them fight on your terms.
Yeah.
What the Finnish were never going to run out of was snow, guys on skis, and copious amounts of vodka. How do you turn that into a weapon?
Yeah.
They figured it out.
Which is why it's not all about raw power.
Yeah. So if Britain is ever invaded, the solution is obvious. You need to find a way to weaponize tea and sarcasm.
Yeah.
They managed to disable 650 Soviet tanks merely with harsh words and
dipped-
apologies.
Dipped biscuits.
And dipped biscuits.
Yeah.
And Bovril.
I feel like the English have used the weapon of. There's this kind of political trope that English people use, which is kind of pretending that you're no threat.
Yes.
You're just don't mind me. That's a kind of
Yeah.
weapon. England know that they're small and that they're not powerful anymore. But they're all like, oh, hello. I'm just, I'm not here to cause any fuss. Sorry to make a fuss, but they're actually planning, and they're basically skiing with the little cocktails politically.
All right. Well.
And once they're in, they can.
Well, the Finns took the more direct approach, and for that, I think, prior to them joining up with the Germans, I think they deserve some respect for that. And what a fantastic story of adaptation. Yeah, they managed to, it really is a David and Goliath story. Good
Yeah.
on them. Good
And
on them.
make
and
sure
then
next
they
time-
had to ruin it all by joining the Germans.
And also leaving their address on their caps.
Yeah, that wasn't a great move.
Yeah. If found, please return to...
Oh,
no.
Boże moi. All right. Should we end
Thor, was that your... Hey, you were supposed to scratch off the addresses.
it? I'm sorry. I was sampling the product.
No, that
Tastes like tar and gasoline.
Igor was going to do that.
Well, he couldn't see anymore because he was drinking all the vodka.
Yeah.
Igor. It's not a Finnish name. Anyway, let's cut there.
Producer Lewis here. Thanks for listening to this episode of Where Did Everyone Go? New episodes every Wednesday and Sunday. Follow, comment, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out.